Hello, everyone. It's nice to be in this conference with the sister project, and it's nice to be, I think, in this room that reminds us of Philip. So this is a shared piece of work with Nico and Kirill. Kirill is not with us, but as we say, he's here in spirit. I think, Nico, you may start, and then I will continue zooming in on the conditions of possibility. So I can give you the microphone, and I can stay here.
I won't repeat everything I said, rest assured, but obviously this is part of the same discussion. What I did during the first presentation was zoom in on political struggles, but the second component of the theoretical model that we have been using is conditions of possibility. And so what we will do in the second presentation, and Vaya will take care of that, so in case you're already bored with me, I'll be happy to give the microphone back to Vaya. Vaya will focus on conditions of possibility. Now, this is a really relevant and interesting concept because it's what actually Deleuze, sorry for going there, what Deleuze called is the ground. And this is literally the ground of the discussions on media roles, democratic media roles, but also the ground on discussions of democracy itself. The big question, and then I'll shut up and give the floor and microphone back to Vaya. The big question there is, what is outside democracy and still inside of democracy, enabling democracy? And the same for media roles, what is outside of these functioning of the media, but at the same time inside gets drawn in by enabling media to be democratic. That's the discussion that we'll engage in this second presentation. And I did promise you that we wouldn't explain all of this, but of course we only half lied. We'll explain half of it. And Vaya, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, as Nico mentioned, briefly introduced the term, so zooming in on the conditions of possibility. The term has its roots in Kant's critique of pure reason, where he argued that he was talking about natural phenomena. Knowledge and cognition presuppose certain a priori conditions, and according to Deleuze's reading of Kant, actually conditions of possibility situate processes and societal phenomena in given grounds, so rendering them specific, actually. Zooming in our field, the field of media, in the famous book that already Nico introduced, Nico and Jeffrey used the term and brought it in our discipline and argued that the conditions of possibility for democratic media are these enabled discursive and material processes that actually are located outside the media field themselves, outside the media field itself, but actually are conducive towards the existence and functioning of media's democratic roles. Still, they're not, let's say, determining or pure outside, but they are seen as enabling assemblages whose existence still is necessary for the democratic assemblage to be able to function and to exist. What I will be presenting here is actually the product of a theoretically informed rereading of empirical literature that focuses on conditions of possibility. By theoretically informed, I mean guided by the model that Nico briefly introduced in the previous presentation, the broad model of media and democracy. And it used sort of an adjusted version of an integrative review method. And we focused on empirical literature, focusing on Europe from 2000 onwards. I won't go into the specific findings of that literature review, but I thought of telling you what is behind the framework that we are presenting, so that it's not completely black box. So the four conditions of possibility that have been identified through this theoretically informed reading and adjusted, practically offering an adjusted version of Nico's and Jeffrey's model is communication technologies, economic resources and stability, democratic media culture, and the legitimacy of democratic regulation. Really, 5 minutes? Yay. Okay. Then, okay. I bought 5 minutes. Going to, but okay, I won't present everything for the sake of time. Communication technologies are seen as these intersecting sets of enablers that have an impact on the possibilities of conception, production, distribution, and reception of media signifying practices. Within this logic of conditions of possibility, technologies are seen as bearing affordances, that they have certain qualities that allow or disallow for certain actions, but also for media's democratic functions to materialize. Within this logic, within this approach of the conditions of possibility, and this approach to communication technologies, attention is paid to the specificity and the embeddedness of technology in political, regulatory, cultural, organizations, contexts, and infrastructures. What is important within this approach is the acknowledgement of how all these actually either impact or impede media's democratic roles. So this allows to move away from either deterministic or phobic approaches to technology. Of course, within this approach, one understands that there is no single meaning of technology. It is, and either it's not fixed. While, for example, we have the example of commercial platforms, digital platforms dominating the online space, but still at the same time, we see for example, the practice of digital commons, which goes very much against, right, the high commercialization of the big companies, or the logic, I mean, of the free internet and open sharing, but also, I think Nico briefly mentioned earlier, the example of community media, right, seen as democratic media, but also they are an example where technology becomes a means of democratization. Economic resources and stability within the capitalist economies that media function today, having stable economies but also a well-functioning economies is seen as a condition of possibility by well-functioning market. We mean a healthy market that it is characterized by diversity and pluralism. However, we do see increasing concentration in the media market. I think in all European countries, all studies show that. So shrinking diversity, which creates imbalances in opportunities of media entering the market, right? And this function for media companies. Economic independence is related also to editorial independence. Of course, as we know, shrinking revenues lead to cutting expensive types of reporting, investigative reporting, foreign correspondence, and it leads to increasing precarity of the media themselves, but also of journalists, right, making them more susceptible to pressures. This is why within these logics of condition of possibility of economic resource and stability, either state or EU involvement, since we're talking about Europe, in restraining monopolistic tendencies is seen as enabling, as supporting this condition of possibility. And also the recognition of the special role of non-market media, both by providing financial support, but also by avoiding state interference. I think I should continue. The third condition of possibility is that of the existence of a democratic media culture, which allows, which enables, helps us to shield societies against broader threats to democracy. And very briefly, I can argue that it is grounded in, on the one hand, societal support. Okay, thank you. It is grounded on a societal support for the key democratic values of freedom, equality, pluralism, dignity, which is related to a societal support for pluralistic media and a pluralistic media landscape. And it is grounded in the, let's say, we could say, propagation of democratic values, of these democratic values of freedom, equality, pluralism in media content, actually helping to validate these values as societally relevant and beneficial. And this can be done by the opportunities that media offer for inclusive and pluralistic discussions about issues of shared societal concern, and enhanced citizen participation both in and through the media. I think I need to move. Regarding the last condition of possibility, the legitimacy of democratic regulation, this is grounded in an interesting balance. One can say, on the one hand, the need for state regulation, but also on the restraint by the state in intervening in the media landscape. So we need both. We need legislation controlling media concentration, as it has been addressed as a threat, right? Media concentration as a threat to pluralism. We need at the same time regulation and self-regulation, promoting media ownership and transparency, and self-regulation on how, through what we can say, more updated actually instruments serving genuine democratic practice. Already mentioned the provisions needed to support news media as pillars of democracy, and the one aspect of this condition of possibility is the legislative recognition of the special role of public service media and community media in performing the democratic roles of serving the public, of pluralism and diversity. Still, again, with the logics of supporting, financially supporting and enabling them, and by non-intervention. And I think I need to conclude. Through this theoretically informed reading of literature, we have presented the framework for the study of conditions of possibility for democratic media, which I think it is an understudied area. So the four conditions, just to wrap up, were communication technologies, economic resources and stability, a democratic media culture, and the legitimacy of democratic regulation. I think such a framework allows to move beyond successes and failures that we often identify when we evaluate media and media performance, and it allows to pay attention to the specific nuances or continuum of struggle in democratic practice, and to the, let's say, both tangible and intangible, since we're talking about the discursive and the material, either cultures, infrastructures, and networks that can be activated in serving democracy. So I think I need to stop here. Thank you.